All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So today I want to talk about how much does it really cost to play Black Desert. Now, I know you can play this game free to play, and there's a lot of stuff in the game that you can get ultimately for free just by playing, but if you were to start today, how much would it actually cost? So I made a list of notable items that will, get you throughout the game. And I think these are notable because they're very convenient and something, no matter what you do in the game, whether you're a PvPer, PvEer, life skiller, this is probably going to affect you. So that's basically everyone. So I just made a list of some notable items and things I want to talk about, and we'll kind of cover it. So with that said, a few things I wanted to start with saying is, you know how every MMO has like a $15 a month subscription, whether it's optional or not? I don't really count that one just because, that's just kind of the standard, not like a Black Desert exclusive. And even then in this game, it's optional, even though, there's kind of important. But with that said, I'm also going to talk about a lot of things in terms of how you can get the things for free, but also can you play without it? So with that said, here's the list. Let's look at the Pearl Shop. All right, so in no particular order, I guess we're just going to go down the list. Loyalties. These are things you get by just playing the game. Every day you log in, you get some loyalty points, and you just get the things you need. We'll talk about all of that more later, but I think from what I've heard, at the end of the year, they're kind of like resetting. This is what the timer says, or either resetting or they're getting removed and replaced with new items. So I'm not 100% sure on this one. So if you're watching this like 6 months down to later and these all look different, we'll still talk about some things I think might be notable. So number one, in terms of the most important things that I would get is probably, where is it? The campsite. Now, it is actually a free version and obviously the paid version. The free version is like a quest you do that gives you all these parts, but they only last for 7 days. And that means you kind of have to either recraft all of these over and over every week, and then it's kind of annoying, or you get the permanent one, which you just never have to think about again. So that's why I think it's convenient, but also the permanent one allows you to actually buy more buffs, I believe, without all the other restrictions with it. So I'll leave a link in the description how to get the free version of this one. It's actually not that bad. The only annoying part is you have to keep doing this once a week. But anyway, would I buy this at full price? No, this goes on sale quite often, and I know it's like almost $50, but I've seen it go on like sale for like 50% off, maybe more, and especially at this time, holidays coming up, Christmas, Calpheon Ball, probably going to be discounted. So that's why I just wanted to tell you guys this now. And so, camp art, whether you're a PvPer, PvEer, life skiller, actually very important for everyone. And yeah, that's one of those things where I would say get it, but at the same time, maybe not at full price, just because it's kind of, it is expensive. All right, the next thing we're going to go talk about, I guess not in any particular order while we're on the tab. This is the value pack, the equivalent of the $15 a month sub in the game. It's worth it, in my opinion. You're playing an MMO, kind of expected in these days. So kind of gives you basically everything that you would, probably use on your day-to-day. And I don't really count this one as like, you need it. It's just really nice to have, and think of it as the monthly sub. All right, so next thing we're going to talk about is, I guess down here, weight and inventory. So you're probably overwhelmed looking at this. You're like, oh my god, there's so many things I gotta get. And if you were to pick one and only, I would choose weight over inventory 100% of the time. Simply because you could get a lot of inventory slots just by playing the game. There's some in the suggested tab. You get some by doing the main quest if it's your first time as well. Suggested as well, you just have to go find it and look at the rewards and see which one gives it. I don't remember off the top of my head, but like inventory expansions, keep doing those and stuff. But either way, throughout seasonals, if you play and just during events in general, you'll probably get a bunch of inventory. Guess what? I have never bought any of these. You just get them playing the game naturally, doing events that go on. And so, yeah, these are some things you just get for free playing the game. That's why I think weight is more important. But also, when you're grinding, weight is generally, you know, you need more for grinding longer at trash or get more trash loot when you're grinding and stuff. But there's a lot of different ways to, you know, get past it. Horse stacking loot, mating it if you have any, which we'll talk about that in a second as well. But overall, yeah, weight over inventory. Next thing we want to talk about is, let me see. What I think would be important is the horse flute. Now, this is one of those things where if you play a lot of characters, kind of gets annoying because you have to get them. But the horse flute is actually very important because it allows you to call your horse from a distance. What's the difference between the regular flute and the celestial? The distance you can call the horse from. And I believe if you buy like the season pass, or like when you're on the season, like one-time thing, you get one for free. So it's kind of like it's worth it for seasonals. But once you play, you know, multiple characters, you're just like, is it worth it? Probably not. So anyway, you want at least one. There's a quest that I believe gives you a flute, and then through time, there's another quest that takes a while to get the upgrade to the celestial, which allows you to call your horse from anywhere. But at very worst, try to get a trainer's flute. That I think will help you on a day-to-day, not just like, but sadly it's only per character. But either way, you want to get at least one of them. The next thing I want to talk about is, I guess, let's see, while we're over here, what are other things that I wanted to, I guess, more or less talk about? Character expansion slots and then season character tickets. Okay, so I've always said it's important to get a lot of character slots. I don't remember how many you get by default, but right now we have this many, so it's like 7 times 35, 39, 41 characters. That's a lot. And you might be thinking, oh, I only play one character. I only play one main. I only need one. That is true, but in this game, there's actually a reason to overall have multiple characters aside from just trying them all out. But like, you put your characters on different bosses, that way you don't have to switch your main or go there every time. And then they also hold fail stacks for you if you don't want to pay for the other thingy in Nadar's band. And they also generate energy when you're not playing it. So think of them like energy batteries. They generate silver, like you could get energy, turn it into silver on all your characters passively. So in terms of like the cheapest method for getting like a lot of other things instead, having multiple characters is probably the cheapest way to go about doing that one. And as for seasonal tickets, this basically allows you to play, like, let's say you get one season ticket, right? You get to play the seasonal, and then once you graduate, that's the end of that. It's a little bit different from a new character. You have to have a character slot and a season character ticket, which allows you to play it on the seasonals. How often this is important, it really just depends where you are in the game, because buying these is nice because it gives you all those beginner rewards and everything, and it helps you like just progress a little bit faster. But once you get to the point in the game where you just understand, you know, the general game mechanics and everything, maybe not so much. But, you know, I guess it depends on what you want to do in the game. So character slot expansions more important than character seasons, but depends. Like, if you're a new player, I'd probably recommend it. And I believe they give you some as a new character your first time, but I don't actually know. All right, so the next thing we want to talk about is pets and fairy. So this one's kind of crazy because you can spend as little or as much as you want on them. So what would I recommend for a beginner? When you look at your pets, you can have 5 pets, right? And they go from tier 1 to tier 4 for most of them. And then you can have one that's tier 5, which is slightly better. If you were a new player, I would recommend 5 tier 1 pets, which you actually can get for free in the game. There's a suggested quest that gives you some pets as well, and then I believe there are multiple quest lines later on that would also give you some pets. So you can also buy it, well, sometimes off the market. Just go down to, where is it? Pearl items and then pets. Sometimes, like during holidays, they just sit there. If you put an order on it, you'll get it eventually. What I'd recommend, just get 5 pets to allow you to loot automatically before worrying about stats or tiers or anything. As you min-max things later on, you start thinking about, oh, what stats and everything. I wouldn't really worry about it. I personally didn't really min-max it all this time either. It's just kind of like, here, this is what I got. And then if they give you the free tickets to reroll stuff, that's when you use it. But ever since I got my tier 4 stuff, like many years ago, most of these things I've literally just gotten through events in the game and haven't particularly bought any over time. So you do get them for free, and that's fine, great. But you do eventually want to upgrade them, which takes time. So it's kind of one of those things where once you get it, you're generally okay. Upgrading them is another story. All right. So next thing we want to talk about is the ferry. Let's see, where is that one? That one would be under ferry. This is probably the most expensive thing I've ever done. It's extremely RNG intensive, and here's how it works. So there's a quest line in the game that basically gives you a ferry, like the tutorial, and you'll probably get a bunch of things right here. What are these? The Lila petals. So basically these allow you to exchange for a ferry, whether you get a tier 1 or, well, yeah, tier 1 to tier 4 ferry is a different story. But the real expensive part comes in when you're trying to re-roll for like the important skills in the game. So I have a video talking about what you should get, but TLDR, you kind of want to get your ferry to like tier 4 and then hope you get miraculous tier 5, and if you don't get 5, kind of re-roll it, and then it's basically, I believe, rebirth or like unsummon and then get a new ferry. Well, like unsummon, release it, and then get a new one, reset, or you can just reset the entire ferry. But I don't particularly remember how that works. But either way, I have a more detailed video on that. I'll just leave it in the description just so you can watch that in more detail. It's kind of a longer video. So yeah, getting the ferry, easy part. Leveling it up, not too expensive in 2025, 2026, but getting the right one and all of them is probably the most expensive thing next to buying costumes over and over and turning into crons. So yeah, if you aren't too worried about min-maxing your ferry, it's probably not too bad. But yeah, so what you want to go for, miraculous tier 5, that's probably your highest priority. And then everything else, they are important, but they are not the most important. Whereas this one having the auto pot for you is really nice. All right, so with that said, let me show you how to do it for free. Let's say you have a ferry, right? It doesn't matter what tier. Here's how you level it up without spending money. You see these sweet honey wines actually pretty regularly. I see them like sitting on the market. So right now there's orders, but like depending on your server or something, they could just sit on the market. So it's not that bad. Well, use these. They're equivalent to like the XP for your fairies, and you just level them up that way. You could also get more through the Lila petals, I believe. So like, you know, when you get these petals, you can exchange like the low tier fairies that you have. Let's say you have a tier 4. You can exchange all the tier 1s that you get from this one and then turn it into honey. So that's how you get it as well. But ultimately, yeah, fairies are very expensive, and I wish all of you the best of luck when you get that and rolling for the right abilities. All right, so pets, kind of expensive depending on what you're going for, but as like an entry level, just get 5 pets. Doesn't matter what tier or what kind, just get them. Think about the upgrades later. Same with the fairy. Get yours with at least one good skill before re-rolling, and then Let's see. What else did I write? Oh yeah, so I guess we'll just talk about this. Outfits and costumes, there are multiple uses for all of this as well. Here's my stance on it. If you're buying costumes because you like how they look, you like role playing or something, you just like having nice outfits, great, that's cool. Where things get crazy and pay to win is when people are, let's say you have an outfit, right? You see how you can extract it for cron stones? That's where people are like, oh, this game is pay to win, because you can melt, like you can buy infinite costumes, melt it for crons, and then like spam upgrade all your armors and everything. So yeah, for all of you new players, does it affect you? No, realistically it doesn't. Most of this time, like realistically, this game is, I would say, about 95% solo. And the biggest tip I can give to new players is try not to compare yourself with other players. Just work on your own thing, do your own thing at your own pace, and you'll be fine. You won't burn out as fast. Trust me, I like competition just as much as everyone else in video games who has the better gear. That's kind of how I started this game. One of my friends, we started this game, we were like, oh, let's see who can get the best gear first and all that stuff, coming from like, you know, other games like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy, Elder Scrolls Online. And we were like, okay, so let's just see who gets the better gear. It really, all it takes is someone to get a little bit of good RNG and click something, and suddenly you're like weeks behind, or, you know, in my case, like 1 trillion silver behind people. But anyway, so yeah, is it really a problem? Kinda, but like if you're just playing, like you don't care what other people do, you're just playing for fun, it does not affect you at all. But yes, it is pay to win. So let me see, what else did we talk about? We talked about the tent, probably one of the most important things. Pets and ferry, those are pretty important as well, and you could spend as much or as little as you want. You could technically not even spend any. I believe on my free-to-play account, which is my console version, I got 5 pets, didn't spend $1 on it. Good. Value pack is the sub of the game, so take that as you will, whether you want to or not. That is optional, and I would say it's worth it, actually. So outfits, they give outfits away so frequently in this game to the point where I wouldn't really be concerned about it. And let's see, weight and inventory, discuss the differences between both of them. So probably weight is more important than inventory. You get the other ones just by playing the game. A horse flute in this game is kind of nice. So one thing, if you don't have the celestial one and you're wondering, oh, can I call my horse from X distance? Basically, you hover over this icon. You see how it says distance to mount? I believe in the non-celestial one, it's like 150. Let me double check that real quick. Where is it? It is 500 range. Okay. And then this one is infinite range. So basically, if you think you're going too far, just call your horse over and then call it again. It's not really a big deal. So eventually you do want to get the celestial one. It's kind of nice, but if you don't, doesn't matter. There's a quest to do it anyway. And then slot expansions for like characters. I would say that is probably the most worth thing in this game. Just trying to max out like 40 characters eventually over time. I believe they used to give it away in Loyalties and then they took it out. That kind of sucks, but you know, it's ultimately they go on sale every now and then, and probably pretty soon with the Savior coming out. And so there's a thing. And then the season tickets. If you're a new player, maybe 1 or 2 season tickets, but after that, you kind of have a general idea of do you like your character or not, and then you've already figured out the game enough to see if you want to do it again. But yeah, that's pretty much all the things that I think are notable in the game. Here's how I think of it. You know how you buy your standard AAA game, you know, whatever you're doing, let's say about $100, right? Let's say you're playing this game on the same budget of your standard AAA game. What would I get? Tent on sale. I'm not including value pack because that could either be separate or you don't get it. And then value pack, tent, horse flute, and then after that, it's really just maybe some pets, but ultimately you get those by playing the game. Maybe a few character slots to see if you like it, your character or not. You can always delete it, but I wouldn't really recommend doing it. I would just leave your character there, let it collect energy and everything, and so on. And would I say get an outfit? The outfits, they do give you a bonus for having it, but it's not enough to be like, you should necessarily buy that the first thing you do in the game. They give enough out for free, and you'll just get one eventually. So can you play this game free to play, or like, let's say under 100? Yeah, absolutely. And as long as you're getting things like on sale, generally it's worth it. So with that said, that's all I wanted to talk about. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you have a fantastic day. If you're new to your channel, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.